So the morning moves on with the announcement of LitFest Awards. And I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Viral Acharya, who is joining us online all the way from the United States for his book, Quest for Restoring Financial Stability in India.
Thank you so much to the SKOCH Foundation. It's a great honor. I really did not expect it. So especially because the book had been out almost 18 months back. But I imagine the theme of fiscal dominance of central banks is now going beyond India and becoming a global phenomenon. So I'm glad you've recognized the book, and I hope its messages carry forward and help us make better policy in due course. Congratulations also to all the other winners. I guess I'll figure out their names very soon. Thank you so much.
And your award is with me. You can carry it whenever you're visiting.
Backstage, the story behind India's high growth years by Montek Singh Ahluwalia. Backstage is not a memoir, but an insider account of the making of India's economic policy between 1979, when the author returned home from the World Bank, and 2014. From a middling performer to a growth dynamo after the reforms. It's a story of substantial success. The book notes three things: the approach during the initial years to change as a combination of gradualism called reform by stealth. Next, growth as part of the dismantling of the license Raj and liberalization. And three, the first 6 years of Modi government as beginning with a bang. The optimism that the book alludes cannot be ignored. Congratulations.
Fondly remember Ishar on this occasion, and a few words from you.
Thank you. Thanks, Samir. Thank you very much. Having written a book, one is always pleased that A, someone's read it, and B, that having read it, I assume you've all read it before giving me this award, decided to give me an award for which I'm really grateful. To touch a lighter note, I'm not sure whether it's interesting because Viral, who's written a wonderful book, by the way, and you were absolutely right to choose him for the award. He made a very interesting comment. His book is all about complaining about fiscal dominance of central banks. And he said, well, I suppose I'm glad you've given this award now that this has become a global practice. So, in effect, you awarded him for a book which has now been globally ignored. Now, I don't know whether the award you are giving me is similarly indicative of what you think is going to be the global reaction, but whatever. Thanks a lot. Just a light touch. I thought it was very cute of Viral to acknowledge this fact. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Just to add to that, we are also awarding Shrena's book. She just went on, after we promoted the book, she went on to win the SKOCH, the Times of India LitFest award. And maybe in your case, it's going to be the Nobel Peace Prize or something like that. Or economics.
All right, there we go with Shraina Bhattacharya's book, which is Desperately Seeking Shahrukh, India's lonely young women and search for intimacy and independence. Using Shah Rukh Khan as a metaphor, Shraina sets the stage for an interesting discourse on the personal portrait of the average Indian women post-liberalization. Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh is an author's exploration of struggles and the unheard aspirations of women in India when it comes to realizing their dreams and idea of love. She states the trope of a unreliable narrator and an observant reader will immediately know reference is drawn to the recently coined term self-gaslighting behavior.
Congratulations, Shraina. This book was recommended to me by my dear friend Yamini Iyer, and she told me the title of the book. I said, I'm looking for some feminist economist literature. And she says, look at Desperately Looking Shah Rukh. And I was like intrigued, why is she suggesting a romantic novel to me? So I was, desperately looking for the romance in that book, but it was pure economics. Rest, Shraina will tell you.
Thank you so much. I realize a book titled Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh is an odd one in this mix. But I just want to tell you a bit about the origins of the book. In 2006, I was given a standard survey questionnaire. I was a research assistant for a project, asked to collect data on the wages and working conditions of women. SEVA was actually the organization I was working for. And I have to actually thank Ratna Sudarshan, Renana Jhabwala, who really were the original, I think, those who nudged me on this path. When I started asking the questions, the women I was speaking to were so bored because they'd actually answered questions about their wages, working conditions nearly 5 times over. And so they said, can we take a break? And we took a break, and as an icebreaker, I started asking all of them who their favorite actor was, and suddenly everyone started talking about Shah Rukh Khan. And as I moved from the slums of Ahmedabad to the forests of Jharkhand, villages of Uttar Pradesh, where women are working in different home-based industries, earning about a quarter of minimum wage, it was fascinating to understand how this process of economic liberalization, he starts to embody this for so many women who perhaps don't understand budget speeches, but see that there's a poster or there are more products suddenly which are being marketed. And through these conversations about an actor, we discover, I followed these women actually for nearly 12 to 15 years, their economic trajectories and personal trajectories. You learn about their lives. It's a mad project. It tries to include film, cinema, data, economic theory, and I really want to thank, I have a PhD committee for the book, starting with Professor Devki Jain, Professor Abhijit Banerjee and Professor Lant Pritchett. I just want to thank them because I think without them, this just would never happen. And thank you so much, Sameerji and SKOCH, for acknowledging the book. I think you don't just acknowledge this book, you acknowledge anyone who's looking at the economy in very unconventional ways. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. And do read this book. It's not boring economics.
Unshackling India, Hard Truths and Clear Choices for Economic Revival by Ajay Chibber and Salman Anis Soos. Both the authors set the stage for a discourse on economic revival and re-engineering, changing the role of the state, developing human capital, and unleashing competitiveness to be future ready. Moving away from finding faults with governments in meddling in certain matters or not done enough in some others, Unshackling India reposes a great deal of faith in the potential of Indian economy, despite deep-rooted problems in agriculture, industry, or even the services sector. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ajay. And we are missing Salman Anis Soos, who is not here, but such a wonderful book and very appropriate in the unfolding situation in Ukraine and, you know, what we're going through and what we're going to focus. Tell us something about the book, please.
You know, I discovered that to write a good book, 50% is to get a good co-author and 50% is to get a good editor. So my co-author is not here today. He's unfortunately not able to join us. He's in Abu Dhabi. But the editor is here, Swati Chopra of HarperCollins, the other half that got the book done. You know, Salman and I are from the same college, St. Stephen's College, and we also worked at the World Bank. But we never met each other till March 2020, when a common friend invited us both to a golf game, and that's how we met. And I really enjoyed talking to Salman. And then came the pandemic, and we decided to write a book, this book that is being awarded today. And just after, this is in June of 2020, in July of 2020, after playing several bad rounds of golf, I got a hole-in-one in golf. And I called Salman and I said, Salman, do you realize we are going to get the India Economic Forum Lit Fest award for this book that we are just about to write? And here we are. Thank you so much for this award. And the book kind of looks back over 75 years. It's written in a very simple style that both our fathers could understand. But it does look over for the next 25 years and hopes that at least our children and our grandchildren will inherit a more prosperous India. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. So Ajay talked about the 250%. He forgot the third, which is to find a lit fest which is going to feature the book and award it and make sure people read it. So that's where Scotch Lit Fest comes in. We are a lit fest for boring books, but very important books.